Hi, Mike Fab, and today I will be talking about the Ever After High Iceberg. If you don't know it, I have been doing very slowly. It's been a while since I've done one, but gone through the different layers of the Ever After High Iceberg. It's a Reddit. I'll link it below to the creator who did it, but we're at layer 5, I believe. And there's 5, 6, 7, 8. So 4 more that I have to do. So let's begin. We have the first one in layer 5, which is the many plot holes of Cupid. That's very fair. I should explain my iceberg. I'm going through and seeing if I'm knowledgeable about Ever After High, if I'm knowledgeable enough. Do I know all this stuff? I did it with Doll Iceberg. I went through a bunch of doll lines, and as we got deeper and deeper, I didn't know this stuff. So far, I'm doing pretty well. I'm pretty knowledgeable on Ever After High, as I have read most of the books, watched as much of the series as I could find. As many times as I could, I guess. So I just say I'm pretty knowledgeable, but I guess as we get deeper and deeper, I won't know. Okay. First one on layer 5. The many plot holes of Cupid. That's fair, okay? Cupid has many plot holes. She's from Monster High. She originated Monster High, then she joins over to Ever After High. The plot holes, I assume they're talking about, does she know about Monster High? Does she, tell anybody about Monster High? She just has all this knowledge and she just doesn't say anything. Questions, I guess? Okay, Mattel went behind Disney's back to create Ever After High. Disney created Disney is very known for their Disney princesses, and obviously if you don't know Ever After High, it is storybook characters' children, which is pretty close to Disney. And I assume that Ever After High at some point had to have been like, hey, we're gonna do this, and they were like, no, you're not. Or maybe Mattel didn't tell them at all and just released it, and that's what they did. But nonetheless, I feel like Mattel did something sneaky, as they always do. Next, Ginger Witch. Referring to Ginger because she's the candy witch, Ginger Witch. I didn't know. Let's look up if I can find it. Ever After High. There is a person, Ginger Witch, who made the iceberg and went over it and stuff. So, and I love it. I've seen the YouTube video and I've watched it many times. I think that's what it's referring to, because when I searched up Ginger Witch, Gingerbread House comes up. Theory. Ever After High. Yeah, Gingerbread House. I don't have anything else that it would be, so I'm going to assume that's what it is. If it's not, I'm sorry. Didn't know. The parents are not the first generation of fairy tale characters. If you don't know, the fairy tale characters take the destiny from the next person, so then they have kids and then they take the story. So in theory, if you're looking and you're that's Snow White, we meet Snow White and the Evil Queen in the stories. They're not the first. They just are the current generation, and then their kids will take over. So all these people that we're seeing are not actually the original, which I'm curious if Ever After High went and went longer, would we have ever talked about the original generation of them, or is it just so old that there is not an original generation of them anymore? Anyways, Apple fell and almost drowned in a well. I remember this. I kind of remember them talking about it. I think it was in a book. But Apple fell and almost drowned in a well. And I think that's why we get a theory. I don't remember, but I feel we get a theory with that, but maybe that's not true. But yeah, she almost died. And would that mean that Raven wouldn't okay, hear me out. If Apple died, would Raven still take the Evil Queen and that somebody else would just play Apple's role, or would Raven not have it and they'd have to wait for a next generation in order to have it? Or if the fairy tale line dies out, let's say one of them Snow White isn't fertile, do they just not have a kid anymore? Questions. So many questions. Okay. Raven and Ginger were bullied and isolated when they were younger. Yeah. I remember that was that Ginger's story? Was that the book, Ginger, where it goes into her life? I feel there was something in there, and it might have been that one. Is that, were they friends? I feel they were friends, And yeah, that's just facts. They were bullied in school. I swear that's that book, but I could be wrong. And that's kind of like when Ginger goes into like how she like wanted to distance herself from her mom. But they were bullied because, assumably, because their moms are both evil witches, and they're gonna take over that. And I'm questioning, like, was Apple like in the class? Because Apple's always really nice to Raven. Like, who was in their class when they were kids? I wish we got Ever After High longer so they could have dove into some of those things. Raven's father is the good king. I've actually looked up if he's in a story, and from what I can tell, he's not. Who is the good king? I thought maybe he was just like a random fairy tale. This is Good King from Snow White. The Disney Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The Good King is the father of Princess Snow White. He was a kind man who loved his wife, but they were childless until the birth of Snow White. So the Good King is Snow White's. Does that mean like Apple? Shouldn't that be like Apple's dad? The Good King in the book character is Raven Queen's father and the husband of the evil king. True to his name, the Good King is kind. Okay, so like, isn't the Good King like Snow White's though? So shouldn't that be Snow White's dad? I was kind of confused about that. But yeah, I remember in like the very first book, like the first chapter, she sees her dad. And we talk about like her early life or whatever. Not early life, but like her family. And how her mom was terrible and turned her pet into like bones or something. I don't remember. Maddie is technically a royal. Yeah. So if you don't know, in order to be a royal or a rebel, royals want to follow their destiny and rebels do not. Mind you, I have talked about it before. Why did they give you the option if you have to follow? Like you can't. So like here, when you start off school, you get to decide, do you want to be a royal or rebel? Do you want to follow your destiny or not? By the way, at the end, you do have to follow your destiny or you die. Like, we're not giving you an option. So why do they give them the option in the beginning to be a royal or a rebel? Anyways, because of that, Maddie is characterized as like a rebel. Like in the story, in the show, she is a rebel when they do like the table split. Royals are on one side, rebels are on the other. Maddie's on the rebel side. But Maddie's a rebel, or Maddie's a royal. She wants to follow her destiny. She plans and is happy and excited to be the next Mad Hatter. She wants that. But the reason why she's a rebel is because she wants other people to have the chance to choose for themselves. She doesn't think that it should be forced on them, and they should get to choose what path they want. But she is technically a royal because she wants her destiny and is excited for her destiny. Next, we have Raven's mom turned Raven's puppy into a dead rat. Okay, there we go. It's a dead rat. I thought it was bones. I thought it was like a rat with bones. Anyways, I was just talking about that. Yes, in the very first book, I don't remember what it's called, but the very first book of Ever After High, Raven, like the first chapter, maybe even the second, we're like at Raven's house before she goes to school. I should read that book again. Anyways, and she's talking about how she had a pet puppy. I don't remember who gave her the dog. I'm gonna assume her dad did, but then if her dad did, why like the evil queen, like, did he not tell the evil queen? Anyways, the mom turned it into it's a dead rat. Was it like moving, or was like it actually like legit a dead rat? Anyways, Cerise is destined to be the next big bad wolf. True. Well, is she? Okay, so if you don't know, Cerise Hood is the daughter of Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf. So Red Riding Hood and Big Bad Wolf fell in love and had a child. And technically, like, who's gonna play the other half? But then we learn later on that she has a sister named Ramona Bad Wolf, who is obviously gonna take the role of the wolf. That's not until later that we learn that. But would she be destined to be the Big Bad Wolf, or would she be destined to be Red Riding Hood? I don't know. The evil queen was scared to live alone. I don't remember that. I assume since it's on here, it's facts. I mean, she lived in isolation in the mirror prison for like a long time, so I can imagine why. Is that why okay. You know how like they're like, she marries the good king and like he's really nice. how did she like enslave him and he like they're married but he doesn't want to be married? You know what I mean? I should reread the books because I feel like they don't really talk about her dad in the show, but he's in the book a little. Is that why? Did she enslave him and she's afraid to live alone? I don't know. I didn't know that she was scared to live alone. She clearly does not treat people very nice to get them to want to like live with her and not make her feel so lonely. Anyways, the last one on this list is Darling Knew the Hidden Path to Wonderland. That's in the show, the like little webisode thing. Is Spring Unsprung? Is Spring Unsprung like the episode or the webisode where like we hear hints that Darling is or someone else is the whatever the knight that she is? I think it's Spring Unsprung. Because doesn't Ginger go into like Wonderland or something? Do you remember that? Anyways, is it Way to Wonderland? I don't think so. Anyways, and then in Way to Wonderland, we see that there's a white knight in Wonderland, like walking around, doing their due, and eventually you find out that that was Darling, Charming, but Darling was like there before. So how'd she get there? She obviously knew a secret passage. Or maybe she used the well. I mean, there's the Wonderland well. How is she getting there? Because Wonderland, if you didn't know, is closed off. Nobody can access it. When the evil queen, like, took power, she, like, cut off Wonderland. So people couldn't leave. That's why Maddie, Kitty, Lizzie, they can't go home. And then Alistair and Bunny came through the Wonderland well. So somehow Darling was getting there. No one knows. In Way to Wonderland, Briar, Apple, Raven... Briar, Ashlyn, who else? Somebody else. No clue. Oh, Kitty, Maddie, probably. Anyways, some people, Lizzie, went to Wonderland to get the Storybook of Legends, do something. I don't know. Briar threw the Storybook of Legends in Wonderland. And they see that Darling is there. Anyways, that was the end of that layer, and I think that we can do another layer. So I think we're going to do it. We're just going to jump right in and continue to do it. So Apple White only wants her happily ever after so that she doesn't die and can please her mother. It's true. So everyone always hates Apple and like gives her hate. But mind you, she was always, okay, I'm not a big like Apple White appreciator. I also did not like Apple growing up. But she was told that if she doesn't get her story, she dies. And, like, no offense, but, like, most people don't want to die. And so I can imagine, like, them being like, but, yeah, she wanted to please her mother. I mean, she idolized her mother, and her mother's Snow White, and everybody loves her mother. But, yeah, that's fair. Maddie and Kitty are technically homeless. So after leaving Wonderland because they were forced out, at least Kitty's homeless. Maddie's dad is in Ever After High. Maddie's dad fled with her. The Mad Hatter fled. And he has a little shop. So technically, Maddie has a home because her dad has a shop there. So they can just live in the shop. I don't know where Kitty's living because she is homeless. So is Lizzie. Oh, yeah. See, it should be Kitty and Lizzie are technically homeless. The Little Too Unknown production of Ever After High. The Little Too Unknown production of Ever After High. I don't know. Was it released really quickly? Let's look it up. The Little Too Unknown production of, I cannot type fast, of Ever After High. Okay. Okay, so maybe it's referencing the Lost movie, which is the planned CGI animation special to never completed and canceled. Or it could be talking about was like Ever After High rushed, I can imagine. Oh, or it could be talking about the little short that they did. I don't know if that's what it's talking about. It could be talking about many things. They did a little short and it's like Apple and Cerise, maybe Cerise and Raven. I feel like it's Apple and Cerise, and Tiny's in it, and it was like very like it's puppety. I don't know. I really like that, and I kind of wish that they kept that style just for funsies or did like a reference and a homage to it. It could be that. So, anyways, MGA was going to make a fairy tale doll line. Did they not? Was that Bratzilla's? MGA fairy tale doll line canceled. I don't remember what particular MGA most of, okay. No, I want to know what they never made. What did it look like? So MGA did technically make a fairy tale doll line. And that one I do know, but I don't know what it's referencing. I can imagine like with Bratzilla's, they failed, so they didn't do it. Oh, no. I was going to say, was the cartoon that I'm thinking of MGA? Anyways, I don't think it is. I don't know what they're referencing. MGA made a fairy tale doll line back in like early 2000s, and it actually is like the Shrek dolls. They created Shrek dolls with like the princesses and stuff, but they also created just dolls. MGA said that they will never make another fairy tale doll line because fairy tales are unsuccessful, and I don't know particularly, I do know fairy tale dolls, but maybe it's a doll line because it never came out. I don't know it. Lost fairy tale doll line, maybe Lost. Give me a second, because now I'm curious. Unable to successfully find anything other than obviously MGA's doll line from back in 2003, which was fairy tale related. I didn't know that they planned on making a fairy tale doll line, so interesting. Ever After High concept trailer, that's what I was talking about with the Lost movie. They post on YouTube, and it's like the characters sitting down from Monster High and Ever After High sitting down to watch a trailer for something, and it's like the movie but in like drawing form because they never finished it, and it was just like their way of like not letting that go to waste. It's pretty decent if you want to watch it, but the things that disappointed me about it is that number one, C.A. Cupid was not in it, and wouldn't it have made so much more sense to have C.A. Cupid be in it, as she's a crossover character? She's in both Monster High and Ever After High. Wouldn't it be like, oh my god, you guys are meeting my friends from Monster High for the first time? No, they did not do that. Gigi and Wisp Grant technically come from the Ever After High world. So, yeah. Didn't Giles Grimm create Wisp? At least Wisp. Maybe not Gigi. But in 13 Wishes, we meet Giles Grimm. Like, they talk about Gigi's creation, or Wisp's creation, and they talk about Giles Grimm, whatever his name is. And in it, we see him, and I was like, when I was first watching Monster High, I loved Ever After High, so any reference to that. Anyways, I don't know about, like, are they from the same world? I guess because in theory, like, people believe, like, Monster High and Ever After High are roughly the same world, but I guess not. Anyways, but I don't know. I mean, Giles knew Gigi and Wisp, so clearly they knew each other. Anyways, I don't know how they ended up in the Monster High world, because, yeah, C.A. Cupid, like, goes through, like, a mirror, right? Anyways. Next we have Duchess is the daughter of Odile and Odette / Odette theory. So I don't know much about Swan Lake. In a different video we talked about Duchess will die at the end of her story. So this one is the theory that Duchess is the daughter of Odile and Odette theory. And then also the next part is the disappearance of Duchess's parents, because don't one of them die? Does Odile die? I don't know. So I've never seen Swan Lake, so I honestly cannot tell you much about it. But I do know there's like one that tries to kill the other, kills the other. And there's a theory that Duchess is not the daughter of the Swan Princess. White Swan Princess. But in fact, the evil one. And that would make sense because I think because if you didn't see, the other one, Duchess, dies at the end of her story. So clearly the person that she's supposed to be is dead. So how did her mom have a kid if she died in her story? Unless, in theory, before the story happened, the mom had the kid and then the mom gets killed. I don't know. I can't theorize that. But it is a real good question, because it would make more sense if she lived her story out, and then the one that lives, the evil one, has the kid, and that Duchess, that would be kind of like why Duchess is kind of mischievous and kind of mean, because she's actually the evil one. And then the disappearance of Duchess's parents, she clearly can't have one of them. Her mom's dead. Is her dad dead too? I don't know. Duchess's parents. We're looking it up. parents. There we go. Okay, why did that come up? Ever After High. This is, what are you trying to look up? Ever After High. Is it gonna tell me anything about Duchess's parents? No. Her parents are the Swan Queen. Okay, Swan character, Duchess' mother stuck in Swan form permanently. When Duchess was young, she lived with her grandmother. Duchess Swan doll comes with a, okay, so yeah. So her mom, they don't even claim that her mom's dead. They're like, she's just stuck in swan form. And she lived with her grandmother when she was younger. That's sad. So she clearly doesn't have a dad there because the dad didn't raise her. Anyways, next, Darling was locked in a tower for majority of her childhood. I honestly feel like I remember that from the Charming books because she was meant to like wait and sit and whatever. But she had the book that her mother gave her that she thought Dexter gave her, but was actually her mother. She had other stuff, but yeah, they treated her pretty poorly, so fun. The White Knight trained Darling. Is that true? Do we know that? I don't know if that's true. Did the White Knight train Darling? I'm trying to do without looking. Okay, I keep forgetting to put Ever After High, and so it's like, what are you looking for? Yes, Darling Charming is a character. Well, that doesn't tell me if she was trained by the White Knight. Given that she is one inside the White Knight's armor, Darling has spent a few years training for self-defense. Okay, this doesn't tell me if the White Knight actually trained. No, this doesn't tell me if she actually is the White Knight. This just suggests that she has trained for some time. Also, another disappointing thing is that they never gave us like Darling in her actual White Knight uniform. Would that not have been such a cool doll? I don't know if the White Knight trained her, and I don't know if they ever suggested that the White Knight did. I know Darling Charming had to have some point had training, but I just assumed that because she lived in like the Charming Kingdom that she got training from someone in there. Or, again, she had access to Wonderland, so maybe she was being trained by the White Knight. Was the White Knight in Ever After High or just Wonderland? I don't know. Bruta and Bella, The Tale of the Two Sisters. My favorite, is that her name, Bruta? I feel like that doesn't sound right. My favorite is The Tale of the Two Sisters, and I was devastated that the TV show literally did not go into it at all. It was probably my favorite thing about the books, because in that, there's the tale of the two sisters, and that's what Milton Grimm tells Raven, is that there are these two sisters who one of them had to kill the other sister, and the one did not want to do it. She was like, I do not want to kill my sister. I do not like this. Please don't make me do this. And so her and her sister decided to flee, and ultimately their story went poof, as nobody knows the story of the tale of the two sisters. So the story disappeared, and ultimately that's how Milton Grimm tries to scare her and is like, this does happen. Like, you do die if you don't follow your story. Like, the story no longer exists. And that is what he does to, like, trick her or tell her. And again, we never, like, do we ever find out what happens? Like, do they actually cease to exist? Like, do they die? I don't know. I didn't remember. And I feel like the TV show should have gone into it, and they should have talked about it, but they did not. They refused. Okay, so it says the little to unknown production of Ever After High, and it has the little clip of, or the little photo of the animation, the little trailer, so that's what it's about, I assume. Anyways, okay, Raven wants to become an author. Does she really? I don't remember that. Sorry, we have to look. Does Raven, okay, I keep spelling the word die. Does Raven want to be an author? Before I hit click, we have to Ever After High. Quote from, I want to see, does Raven want to be an author? I didn't know that. I cannot find it. I could not tell you. It like literally is not popping up. Does Raven want to be? I don't know. No clue. I didn't know that she wanted to be an author. That's fun if she does. Good for her. Next, what is the story without its villain, Evil Queen? I assume that's a quote from the Evil Queen. So I looked up the quote just to know. So it says, without villains would be considered, a story without villains would be considered incomplete and potentially non-existent, as the very concept of the school revolves around the children of fairy tale characters and villains with their destinies intertwined, which is quite interesting. I assumed that it was a quote from, just a quote through it. I didn't know if it has any significance other than what's the story without a villain? Like, all the villains thrive on that. Fair enough. I can't tell you what a story without a villain is. A story, I couldn't name any actually. But something to note is that in many of the stories they change them a bit, as the big bad wolf I think is supposed to kill people. And obviously in the end he doesn't Red Riding Hood supposed to kill the big bad wolf, but he's alive. He's teaching class because she doesn't kill him because she loved him, and then they got married. So like, stories can change even though we don't talk about that. Even though they're like, if you don't follow your story exactly how they should be, but we see things that do. Yeah, that is all. That is layers 5 and 6, I believe, of Ever After High, and I have 7 and 8 left to go, so 2 more, which is exciting, and then I'll be done. And crazy enough, I knew most of it. I'd say I looked up some of it just if there was any significance, but I'm quite happy with my so far knowledge. Layers 7 and 8, I'm a bit nervous for, like, am I gonna know? But that is a problem for me for another day. I'm actually, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on the video. Let me know if you knew all this stuff or if you knew more than me. But anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.